It's a big setback for Uddhav Thackeray. The Supreme Court refused to stay the Election Commission's order that recognized Eknath Shinde as the leader of the real Shiv Sena and giving them the bow and arrow pole symbol. The court said that at this stage it can't stay the EC order as the Shinde camp had succeeded before the Election Commission. In fact, the court also said that it will not stay any takeover of offices, etc. by the Shinde camp. The Supreme Court has issued a notice to Eknath Shinde camp on the petition filed by Uddhav Thackeray against the EC order. The court said that the Shinde camp has to file a reply on the petition within 2 weeks. Meanwhile, Eknath Shinde expressed satisfaction at the court order and said this was a vindication of their claim that they are, were and will be the real Shiv Sena.
माननीय सर्वोच्च न्यायालय ने जो हमारे दूसरे गुट है उन्होंने जो मांग की थी कि माननीय निवडणूक जो इलेक्शन कमीशन है उन्होंने जो निर्णय दिया वो निर्णय के ऊपर स्टे की मांग की थी, लेकिन माननीय सर्वोच्च न्यायालय ने उनकी मांग खारिज की और वो मान्य नहीं किए और कौन सा भी स्टे इलेक्शन कमीशन ने जो निर्णय दिया उसके ऊपर कौन सा भी अभी स्टे नहीं है और 2 हफ्ते में उनकी जो बातें वो सबमिट करने के लिए कोर्ट ने आदेश दिया। माननीय सर्वोच्च न्यायालय ने बहुत ही क्लियर कहा कि हम पूरे आपकी डिमांड को स्टे नहीं दे सकते, तो इलेक्शन कमीशन ने जो निर्णय लिया उस हिसाब से पार्टी के इंटरनल प्रोसेस वो लोग कर सकते हैं।
Now, despite the jolt from the top court, the Uddhav faction is still hopeful and have said that they believe the Supreme Court will eventually give them justice.
I don't think the justice will be denied to us. Let us wait now. Honorable Uddhav Thackeray has given a letter to Eknath Shinde that he should be the leader of the party, and Sunil Prabhu will be the whip of the party. Now, Election Commission has not at all considered. They only, in fact, force us to submit the membership forms, which we, to the tune of 20 lakh we have submitted. We have challenged the decision to the Supreme Court. Luckily, Supreme Court has given a decision that they have kept the case pending. Right now, they said we will not surpass or we will not grant a stay to the decision of the Election Commission.
सुनवाई नहीं हुई, सुनवाई 2 हफ्ते के बाद में रखी है क्योंकि अदर साइड को भी पार्टी करने के लिए नोटिस देने के लिए कहा है, इसलिए स्टे मिलने की कोई गुंजाइश नहीं थी क्योंकि मामला सुनवाई नहीं हो गई। अगर सुनवाई होती थी तो स्टे मिलता था, लेकिन तब तक जब तक इस पिटीशन का डिसीजन नहीं होता है तब तक कोई डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन नोटिस, किसी तरह का कानूनन नोटिस या कोई तरह की कार्रवाई की नहीं जानी चाहिए, ऐसा कोर्ट ने कहा है। जो जो चीजें इलेक्शन कमीशन ने हमको कहा था कि ये चीजें चाहिए वो सब हम देने के बावजूद उस चीजों को देखा भी नहीं और सिर्फ लेजिस्लेटिव पार्टी को देख के अगर डिसीजन दिया गया है तो वो जरूर चैलेंज हो जाएगा और उसमें मुझे ऐसे लगता है कि हमारी बात कोर्ट मानेगी।
First reaction coming in from the Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde, where he has said that this is a win for his party and for the legacy of Balasaheb Thackeray. Sharad Pawar, though, has continued with his attack on the Election Commission.
कोर्टाकडे निवडणूक आयोगाच्या निकालावर विरोधी पक्षांनी स्थगिती मागितली होती, ती स्थगिती नाकारलेली आहे। शिवसेना आणि धनुष्यबाण निवडणूक आयोगाने घेतलेला निर्णय कायम ठेवलेला आहे, त्यामुळे आणखी जी काय पुढे सुनावणी होईल त्याच्यावर पुढे निर्णय होईल। परंतु आत्ताच्या परिस्थितीमध्ये जे निवडणूक आयोगाने दिलेला निर्णय शिवसेना पक्ष कुणाचा आणि धनुष्यबाण या बाबतीमध्ये त्यांची याचिका फेटाळलेली आहे।
शिवसेना मैं समझ सकता हूँ वहाँ झगड़ा होगा, और शिवसेना जिन्होंने फायदा नहीं की उन लोगों के हाथ से पूरी तरह से निकलना, उसका सम्मान निकलना और तीसरे लोगों को देना ऐसा कभी हुआ नहीं था, आज यहाँ हुआ है। क्योंकि आज देश की राजनीति की हुकूमत जिनके हाथ में है उन्हें जिस तरह की स्थिति चाहिए इस तरह का डिसीजन, चाहे इलेक्शन कमीशन हो चाहे दूसरे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हो, ये सभी से हम लोग देखते हैं। और ये संकट एक बहुत बड़ा हमला राजनीतिक दलों के ऊपर आया है।
So basically, both sides are saying that they do expect justice and that this should not be seen as a victory for any one faction. But the fact remains that The Uddhav Thackeray group was hoping for some relief and was at least hoping that the Election Commission's order would be kept in abeyance, and that for now hasn't happened. Also, there is no stopping the takeover of the Shiv Sena properties, which Eknath Shinde says naturally belongs to his group.
देश की सर्वोच्च न्यायपालिका ने आज श्रीमान उद्धव ठाकरे जी को करारा झटका दिया। वे चाह रहे थे कि चुनाव आयोग ने शिवसेना नाम के विषय में जो फैसला दिया है उस पर न्यायपालिका रोक लगाए। अदालत ने स्पष्टता से उसे नकार दिया। यह श्रीमान महाराष्ट्र के मुख्यमंत्री एकनाथ शिंदे जी और उनके साथियों की बहुत बड़ी जीत है। ये श्रीमान उद्धव ठाकरे जी को मिला हुआ ईश्वरीय दंड है और स्वर्गीय बाला साहब ठाकरे जी का ये एकनाथ शिंदे जी को मिला हुआ आशीर्वाद है।
All right, in fact, Election Commission sources have also said that this is an upholding of the order that they have given. The main takeaways are that the Supreme Court refused to stay the order by the Election Commission despite the insistence of the Uddhav group. They also refused to intervene in the matter related to bank accounts and property, saying that it will not go beyond the order of the Election Commission. On the argument that political activity has come to a halt, the Supreme Court said that protection in terms of para 133(4) of the Election Commission order will continue. Legally, what does this mean? Let's in fact go straight across to Mahesh Jethmalani for more on that. Mr. Jethmalani, thanks very much for speaking to us. First up, would you see this as status quo being maintained or a setback for Uddhav Thackeray?
No, I mean, it's a setback for the other side. They wanted an interim stay. So, and the Supreme Court clearly has rejected that. And they must be disappointed.
Now, has the actual support to Uddhav Thackeray been overlooked by the Election Commission? Because the argument that this is not just about MLAs and MPs and who got how much percentage of vote, it's also about who the cadre supports, who the people who are in the executive committee support, and none of that was taken into consideration by the Election Commission. Did they err in doing that?
No, it hasn't at all. On the contrary, the very foundation of the Election Commission's jurisdiction is that there are two groups of an original political party, each of them claiming to be the real Shiv Sena in this case, right? And both of them claim to be the party. So there is the party cadre with us, and we'll, you know, the ultimate test of that will be in the next by-election when we stand. We'll see what happens in the elections. Many shakas are already with us. So where's the question of anything being ignored? What was ignored was the constitution which was propounded by the other side, by the Uddhav Thackeray group, right? That was ignored because the constitution which they propounded was never submitted. They came out with the constitution of 2018 for the first time, right? On the basis of which the organizational structure has been set out, right? In the 2018 constitution was never submitted to the Election Commission as they are bound to do in law. So the Election Commission said this constitution has never come with us, has never come to us as is mandatory. That was what was ignored, and therefore the new constitution of 2018, what it did was it changed the democratic structure which the Election Commission had earlier ordained and was accepted by the late Bala Saheb Thackeray. In 2018, this constitution which they propounded, which never went to the Election Commission, changed that democratic structure and put back the clock and made it an autocratic structure. The autocratic structure being that all appointments to the Rashtriya Karyakarni, the working committee, would be, all appointments to the Pratinidhi Sabha, which is the general body, would be in the hands of Uddhav Thackeray. He would make all the appointments, except for MPs and MLAs, 90% of whom are with us.
No, fair enough, but all of these observations made about changing the constitution, etc., they equally apply to Mr. Shinde, because he was a part of the Shiv Sena at the time when all of these changes were made. So he would be equally culpable in that sense.
Of course, Mr. Eknath Shinde was a part of the Shiv Sena, but one of the main reasons why Eknath Shinde apart from the ideological dilution by the Uddhav Thackeray group, aligning with enemies, cadres on the ground being extremely upset about this new alliance which they had formed, giving up the old ideology. One of the other grounds which at the very outset was propounded by the Eknath Shinde group for forming a separate group and being the original party was that the constitution has been subverted as well. It's part of the resolution of July 2022 that you have subverted the constitution.
Okay, now a couple of things which were prayed before the Supreme Court. One was that this plea is not maintainable, and
now,
yet. Go on.
Padmaja, may I just say? One more thing. Look, it's not as if discontentment in a party leading to an ultimate parting of ways takes place overnight. After all, Uddhav Thackeray, right, was the pramukh of the party, right? Now, the dissent. So he has taken a decision. He took the decision to go with the MVA, the other parties in the MVA, right? Now, one sees how it works on the ground. You may not agree with the decision initially, but you give in because he's your party leader, right? You give in. You respect him also because he's the late Bala Sahib's son. But when you find out, as they have done in their very first notice which they sent, that 2 ministers have gone to jail for corruption, namely Anil Deshmukh, they're still under investigation and charge sheets are being filed, and Nawab Malik, right? When you find the party cadres are angry and nothing is being done about it, and when you find that the constitution was subverted, in as much as you're no longer democratically a party, then all these issues come up. So you may go with something out of respect for a leader, but ultimately it snowballs into discontent and a split.
Now, the Supreme Court didn't send this case to the Delhi High Court. Plus, they also did not throw out the plea altogether, given that it was being argued by the Shinde camp that this is not maintainable. Plus, they have also stopped any disqualification proceedings taking place against anyone from Uddhav camp. Is that a setback for Mr. Shinde?
No, look. As far as the Delhi High, it makes no difference, right? Whether it goes first to Delhi High Court, then comes to the Supreme Court, or come directly to the Supreme Court. It's just that normally it was pointed out that they have an option of going to Delhi High Court. Why not exhaust that first and then come? So that's not a big setback at all. Ultimately, it saves time also for everybody. The Supreme Court, takes it upon itself to decide this issue. So that's not a problem. As far as the disqualification statement was made, we had already made a statement before the previous bench, right? The 3-judge bench, which referred this matter to the larger bench, headed by Justice Ramana. I think the bench consists of Justice Ramana and 2 of the present judges sitting on this bench, Justice Murari and Justice Hima Kohli, right? We had already made a statement that no disqualification proceedings would continue, right? And that has to continue because the Constitution bench issue on the question of disqualification, etc., is still ongoing. It continues even tomorrow. The Election Commission was a separate issue which was decided, the interim application of which was decided today. Right? That will now happen post the holy vacation sometime, the final hearing of that. But the constitutional bench issue on the question of disqualification, right, and the legitimacy of the government continues to be heard. So pending that, we are bound by the statement we made. There was no need to make that because nobody took any steps. Ever since that statement was made last year, I believe, before Justice Ramana's 3-judge bench, nobody has taken any steps for disqualification. Eknath is conscious of the obligation and the statement he's made to court. It has been made on behalf of him to the court.
Now, also, given that the symbol and the name of the Shiv Sena is with Mr. Eknath Shinde now, does it automatically follow that he and his party will have right over all of the properties, the offices, the shakhas
of the Shiv Sena? I mean, the property belongs to the party, so whoever is the party, and the Election Commission has declared the Eknath Shinde group to be the Shiv Sena, is giving you the symbol, right? Now, for that reason, but the Election Commission doesn't have the power to tell you to take over the property. That's a consequence of being the Shiv Sena.
Finally, Mr. Jethmalani, whatever way the Supreme Court decides, this entire episode, do you think is going to end up denting the image of the Election Commission? In the same way that people talk about the ED and the CBI, that the institution is going to be damaged, and there will always be a doubt in people's minds when, you know, there is talk about how money is being exchanged or political directions are being given.
Please don't fall into this trap of every opposition party, right? Let me just give you a brief summary. Every opposition party has said this when they've been under the cosh for some reason or the other, right? They have gone to court. They've gone to every court. Now, has every court which is still which actually upheld their incarceration in jail pending bail, right? Or which upheld charge sheets, have they gone for quashing of anything? There's a legal procedure. If you feel that the ED is so out of line and its case is so frivolous, there's a legal procedure. They failed in everything. They failed in everything. Every opposition party which is today screaming, right, that the ED is unfair, the investigating agencies are unfair, have lost all their court battles on which they have, the premise of which has been exactly what you are telling me today, right? Now, the latest victim is the Election Commission. I mean, it is atrocious that somebody should say that the Election Commission has taken 2,000 crores, as Sanjay Raut did, for this order. What kind of irresponsibility is this? This is a man who has been to jail, right, for usurping real estate and siphoning monies. This is a man who said that of the 40 MLAs who had gone to Guwahati, that if they return, only their dead bodies will come back, right? And threaten them. In fact, disincentivizing them from coming back to Mumbai so that they could be disqualified without any physical appearance or defense. And this is the man who put Navneet Rana in jail, who has said so many things. And today he continues to be in the party. I am telling you that the present Shiv Sena, right, the alter ego and the face and the character of the present Shiv Sena is Sanjay Raut. Do not take anything he says seriously, because everything he says is muckraking without evidence. And the fact that it should even be taken seriously, these kind of allegations, is a joke. It's a complete joke. It's a blot on our institutions. We're a democratic country. You are undermining the entire system to save your own bacon. That's all. You are only doing that. You are throwing stones, casting mud at very venerable institutions which are doing, I'm not saying there are not exceptions, which are by and large doing a good job. You can't take the cleanup. The present parties can't take, opposition parties who are in the mire, can't take this cleanup operation because they are so soaked in dirt.
Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you very much, Mr. Mahesh Jethmalani, for speaking to us. Of course, the court might have refused to stay the EC order. The hearing will continue. Now, the Eknath Shinde group has to reply, but the politics, you can bet your last buck on it, will continue unabated. Thanks very much for speaking to us. Time for a quick break.